this is Mike. You've all probably chatted to him now. So, Mike, when did you start working with me?
Oh, I should have prepped for this. There's a pre-COVID.
17, was it?
2017, because I think you'd been going for a good year. I'd worked with someone else previously and just got despondent. Yeah, 2017.
Yeah, 'cause I remember I was in that apartment I showed earlier in Sweden. I remember when you started and we did Platinum, right? And we launched you a product and it sold, but there was some issues or something, right? I remember. And then, but that was your first sort of recurring sales.
Yeah.
And you got to, was it what, 10 a day? Was it, would you say 5, 10
yeah,
a day
10
sales?
a day, yeah. It went well. It was like...
And then Amazon went...
They said, we really don't want you to sell this product. So,
No.
But what was nice about that is that I had the evidence, I had the proof. So as Siju was saying earlier, you've done that first one, you've done that scary phone call. For me, that scary phone call was to an American supplier first time. But you've done it once and you've gone, well, there's the evidence, there was the money it came from. It's going, right, I can do this again. And it's just amazing when you know that.
Yeah. So fast forward to today, you've done about 1.3 mil, would you say?
Yes. Because I kind of know what I do in a year, and then you just remind me, oh yeah, blimey, yes, it soon adds up. So
right,
yeah.
you usually focus on what you're doing each day, I'd imagine. Like looking at the app, refreshing.
That's it.
When you look at the big picture, it's a lot of sales.
Yeah.
As I said before, Mike, we started in 2017.
Yeah.
Is that right? Fantastic. So before you started and you were thinking about selling on Amazon, well, actually, let's go back. So before you started with me, you'd already done a little bit.
Yes.
Right? And what happened with that? So before you started...
Okay. So, unlike Ollie, I didn't pick the right Amazon training course. I started about 2015 probably, and now I'm going to show my age. It was a course that everyone came into the room and they did their spiel and so on. And wonderful, fantastic. Here's a CD or DVD, and here's a book. And that's like, bye. So there was really no decent criteria on product selection. So I picked a product, leather conditioner in America. So I wasn't even doing it in the UK, wasn't using the advantages of actually seeing the product. So I never saw the product and it went through there. And it sold a little bit. And then the advertising just swamped it because it was a too complicated market. I got despondent and I gave up. And that was it. It's like, Amazon's not for me. And then before Ollie, I met another UK-based guy, but he just did retail arbitrage. So I did that for about 8 months, got a bit of a budget again, and kind of gained my confidence back in Amazon, going, yeah, this does work. And I'll just very quickly, so the excuse I used to use when people say, why do you want 20 of those? I run a toy club. It wasn't known for me. At one stage, this is how I scaled it. I would go into Tesco's with 3 trolleys, and I'd go out with 3 trolleys full. I would ram my car and hope I didn't get stopped by the police because I couldn't see out left or right, only forward. And that just got my confidence, got me a budget going. And I heard this English accent. I thought, someone who actually does this in the UK. Okay, they'll get them. And yeah, that's how I started.
It's amazing. So how much did you make from the arbitrage roughly? Do you remember?
Oh, I didn't do too bad out of that. I don't know, £8,000-10,000 in a 3-month period.
Wow. So guys, if you do want to make faster cash and you budget is an issue, don't forget about arbitrage. It still works. Like Angelina, who I want her to be at one of these masterminds when she's done, when the baby's a bit older and she can she's more comfortable. She said she's going to join later in the year. She's still doing really well. Even last year. She said one of her biggest suppliers was Sports Direct. She'd go into Sports Direct, buy a load of stuff cheap, and then sell it on Amazon, and it can make you really quick cash because you don't have to wait for imports from China, and you can build up a couple grand and then put that into private labels. So, I mean, it works. Is the point. It's not the most. It's time intensive.
Yes.
You don't want to be doing it for the rest of your life, but don't forget about it. Yeah, it's.
Is she selling tours?
No, I don't think so. I think. Actually, I'm not entirely sure because obviously we didn't go into the exact detail of her products.
There's lots of sports equipment in there which wouldn't be size related.
Sports and outdoors category stuff, right? Tennis rackets. I mean, I honestly don't know. But yeah. Yeah, because it's arbitrage, exactly. Yeah. So that's what you're looking for. Yeah, because it would have sold really fast. Okay, so you did arbitrage,
Yeah.
and then you came, and I remember we had a phone call in
Yeah.
2017. I think the end of the
And
phone call you said
and I grilled him.
you did
And
grill
I
me.
was like, because I'd got so, how do I put it, miffed. I'd be polite today. Miffed with this one in America. It's like, yeah, right. I've kind of done this right. Come on, yeah. I'm like, you sure, Ollie? Yeah, and no, and yeah. Ultimately, yeah, you gave me that confidence. Go, yeah, this guy's for real. He answers the questions. He knows what it's about.
Yeah, I remember you said to me, I think at the end of the call, you were like, Ollie, does this definitely work? Does this definitely work? And I was like, as long as you do the stuff, yes. So what were you thinking on that? Like, what were your fears? What were you scared of?
I wasn't so scared about the supplier end because I'd scared myself talking to someone in America, which is like, I'm really not into cold call. It felt like cold calling, even though I wanted their product, but it felt like cold calling. So I kind of got over that. It was just like, it's going to be another, convince me it's not going to be a duff product I'm going to launch again and lose money on. That was where I was going with it.
So what made you go, maybe I'll give this guy a chance?
Because you answered my questions clearly, and I guess that ultimately it comes down to, well, if you do it, you do it. If you don't, you don't. But ultimately, you are your own destiny. Well, I know that sounds quite corny, but you didn't push it to me. It's like, Mike, this is it. This is the model. I know it works. Yes, I know. I understand why you're anxious about it, but yes, it does work. So yeah, it's just like at the end of the day, you went, well, that's been good conversation. You know, if you want to go for it, go for it. If you don't, fair enough. Hope you've learned something from this, which is refreshing because you think, okay, well, if you're not pushing for it, you only want people who want to do it. And I'm liking the sound of this, and that's kind of how it swung it for me.
Awesome, man. So we launched a product and you researched it yourself, right?
Yes.
Now often I'll research people products.
Yeah.
But back then, I wasn't doing that. So
No.
you did it yourself and you would bring me lists of products.
Yeah.
So how did you find the initial how was product research for you in the beginning?
I still hate it.
So do I, man. It's laborious, right? It takes time.
Yeah, I know it's corny to say, but the more you do it, the more you. I now scan things and go no before I even go, because you just if you do it enough, you kind of see some of the things that keep reappearing. And that's why I use slightly different search methods now to stop that reappearing. But you kind of get home in. And the one thing I would say, and which is what we've done in the exercise today, is you just do a very focused stage of it. You go, right, I'm just going to find, like we've done today, any that match this simple criteria. I'm not going to start looking for suppliers. I'm not going to go into more depth. I'm just going to get that list, because getting a list is just a good starting point. So yeah, I struggled. I found the usual suspects. I'm not going to say what they are. Well, yeah, I don't think there's things like blackout curtains was quite a fun one at that time, and a few others I can't remember. And then when you were like, well, Mike, well, no, not quite. And that's the thing. You would say, no, that doesn't work, rather than, yeah, go for it and think, oh, right, well, you know, that's got Mike going now. You would actually say, no, that's still not quite right. So, yeah.
Yeah, and then we launched the product and it worked for a little bit, right?
Yeah. Yep.
It worked really well for a little bit.
Yep.
And then there was an issue.
Oh,
I can't
yes.
quite remember what, I don't know, if we reveal the issue, we might reveal the product, but there was an issue.
I can say what the issue was, and I can
Right.
tell you what I did. So this particular product was a toy, but it was for people over the age of 13, so 14 and onwards. If you're over the age of 14, the toy regulation is different. And I was very clear on this product. I had a label in it saying not for children under the age of 14. But Amazon decided that was too risky and said, no, you can't do that. We think that could be sold to any child, therefore we're going to close the listing. So that was how...
It was a technicality, would you say?
A technicality, and it was something that European and UK government decided to up the game on this particular product. When I was doing it, it was like, yeah, I can see why this should be that, and I'm going to make it very clear as a responsible seller. But then European and the UK, it was Europe then. The Europe regulations went, that may be so, but we're going to say this is the case. And Amazon said, well, if the European I forget what the body's called now, says no, then we'll say no.
So what did you learn from that kind of? I don't know if it was a mistake or a misfortune or whatever.
I would say
you
that
call
was a misfortune because I couldn't see that one coming. And what I learned was I loved looking on a Friday night going, beer money sorted, tick, as I got sales. And so yeah, I learned that this did work. Unlike my first product, I was making a profit, and I'd figured out the Chinese supplies. I'd use a couple of different Chinese suppliers to get this same product. So I'm now getting comfortable with the whole China import stuff. So I got comfort with the China import stuff, and I got proof that I can make money on Amazon.
Well, that's good, man. So with that first import, did you use a freight forwarder or did you use the supplier's shipping, or how did you ship it?
So I used a website called DHgate, which
So
is
it wasn't Alibaba?
I didn't. Alibaba had it, but
Right.
DHgate kind of worked better for me in the fact they gave a price and what the postage would be. So it was just an easy way to do it.
Very clear.
But,
upfront.
yeah, and I was ordering a small amount. It worked really well for me. Then I did do an Alibaba one, and because my budget wasn't big, there was still enough profit to fly it over. So I was doing like 4 weeks worth of stock. Great. Order another 4 weeks worth of stock. Have 2 weeks worth of money into one side, and then I'd order another 6 weeks worth of stock. And I was fortunate I hadn't gone to the 3 months or 6 months worth of, 3 months worth of stock as well. I hadn't quite got to that when Amazon said no.
So it was lucky you didn't order like 2,000
and
units. And then,
the units I did have just went through eBay.
see, this is a backup. If your product
Yeah.
can't sell on Amazon, you can stick it somewhere else. Check it on eBay. And did you get break even on that, or did you make? Do you remember if you made a profit still, or
I would probably broke even on it because it was still a product people wanted.
did you just shifted?
I just shifted
got
it.
rid of it.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And then obviously after that, you launched. What happened after that? You launched a couple. Because that product got you about 4K a month, was it?
Yeah.
I remember.
Yeah. So what happened then is I hit the wilderness a little bit.
Right.
And to be fair to Ollie, it was like, okay, product list, yeah. Ollie, I'm struggling to find product. Okay, I think at the time he said, well, the equivalent of Poundland. Have a look at Poundland or something. So okay, so I found something on
Why
there.
did I say that?
Because you got to, I think you were getting slightly frustrated. I go, I can't find anything. I can't find anything. Well, try that website. So I did, and I think it was a really silly thing. It was like bath mats in a bath, just cheap enough. And because you're not VAT registered, so there's a little bit of profit in it. It's like, oh, okay, I have found something. This isn't going to last long, but it'll do for what I want.
So you were sourcing it locally.
Yeah.
Oh, and so you're selling it as if it was your brand, but it was a generic, unbranded product.
Yeah, it was
So
when
like
well, it's a bit like
batch
And it was like, well, this is kind of working. I'll let that go. And then I think I did another one. I got actually similar going. I went on eBay. I won't say what it is because other people still sell it. And I went, okay, that works. It had a brand name, but they weren't selling it on Amazon. So it's like, well, it could be me. It's just got that name on it. You know, it doesn't matter. It's a generic listing. And I sold that product for a while. Again, that made me a bit of profit. And then you did well, this is probably where you were getting close to doing the done for you product. You did a list of 100 products.
I remember,
A book of that, and I just went through and I nailed it down to 5, and then I found one I could relate to, and I still sell that product now 4 years later.
Wow. So those lists I give out of products. Some people import them. And Suja, have you ever imported some from those lists?
I don't think directly from the list, no, but I've heard Mike and other people that have actually, because a lot of people just don't take action on it.
The problem is, everyone thinks, everyone's going to use those products. I'm going to find my own, but then no one uses them. So that's, I would, if you're...
And that launched, I think, sort of November, December time. And I decided if I hadn't got any further in December, I was spending too much effort for not enough money. And that launched, and I think that was like, I'm going to guess, sort of 4,000, and then it turned to 7, and then it turned to the winter, probably 10, 11. It just went...
So 10K a month?
Yeah, profit. Wow. So, because it's slightly seasonal, and I just hit it right. And there was one you could go into, it's in the pet niche, you could go to the pet store and buy this particular product, which was dearer, And no one was, there was one or two on Amazon, and two of those were retail arbitrage. No one was directly importing it, so I just had a really good margin. And as Ollie was alluding to earlier, and then is, a product, you get that golden period where you've kind of nailed it and no one else has caught up. And then it kind of, a few other people come with something close, but you're there already. And now it's kind of got to a steady point. It's a boring product. It's in a category which is doing fine. And yeah, it's doing all right. The supplier kind of rings me and says, Mike, are you sure you don't need any more? Because I think you should be looking now. So they kind of prompt me.
Right.
They're my stock management.
That's awesome.
So yeah, it works well.
So fast forward to last year, it was about $500,000, is that right?
Yes.
Wow, incredible. And so you sold all different kind of brands. So I remember you did one product, obviously I'm not going to mention what it is, but you actually did a cluster launch.
Yes.
Right? I wanted to talk a little bit about cluster launches. Has anybody heard of what a cluster launch is? Anybody not know what a cluster launch is? Okay, some of you. All right, so cluster launch, Mike, do you want to?
Yeah, so product research found product A. I did a test batch of product A, went really well. It's like, okay, I'm talking to the supplier and go, well, okay, so this is product A. And I said, well, there's product B, looks similar to A, and they complement each other. So I went, okay, let's do that. So I now got two products, but these two products had 4 colours. So at the first, I was just doing a mix. So, and then manually made it into single colours. So I've now got 8 products from 2. So I ran with that and I went, oh, this bowl, well, there you go, it's a bowl. This bowl, it's a very generic. This bowl comes in 3 different sizes. So I've now got 3 different sizes, 4 different colours. And now I go, right, okay, got 4 colours. Why don't I have 4 more colours? So I was at a point where I had 8 colours, 3 sizes, and 3 products.
Yeah, so if you typed in Mike's keyword for his search term, for his product, it would just be like 60% of page 1 was just Mike's brand. Yeah, so the power of this is if you find product research boring, which are considering...
Yeah, I find that boring.
Mike finds it boring. He's stealing products off my list and doing cluster launches, right? This is a great way because you can research one product, and rather than going and researching a second product, keep launching variations of the same product in the same category. Then you can use the same supplier, ship them all on the same boat. You're ordering in bulk, so I'm assuming you've got a cheaper deal, right,
yeah,
on the stock. Cost per unit becomes down.
And I'll give another tip as well. So with the bowl, shall we say, we have 4 colours.
Is it a fish bowl?
Yeah, something like that. We have 4 colours, right? So you've run this and you've now got, I don't know, 20 reviews. So it's credible now. You add 2 sizes and you add them onto that same listing. You've still got your 20 reviews and you've now got other products. Now, when it comes to PPC, you can advertise any of those products within that listing. So you've now got a credible listing, and if someone goes on there and goes, oh, I want a bowl. Oh, actually, I didn't. Oh, they do a slightly larger one and do a slightly smaller one. Oh, I've kept them on the page. So that's what you do for a while. And after a while, you've got 200 reviews. Now what you can do is you can be sneaky. You can split some of those off. So you have a separate listing that's now got 50 reviews for, let's call it a pink bowl. But you've got 150 for the rest of them. And then you split another one off. And before you know it, you've got about 15 listings now, all got reviews. Because you use that core one, and you can still do this, you've got that core one, which has got, anyone reviewing any of those 15 products adds to the overall.
Yeah, so it's just a really powerful strategy. It's a good way to just very quickly build a brand.
Yeah.
Without doing a ton of product research. As long as there's enough demand in the niche. I think if there's not enough demand, then you might struggle.
Yeah.
But you can just keep doing test batches of similar products and then see if it works. All right, so what would you say along the way was your biggest mistake or biggest lesson?
Oh, gosh, which one? So to put some background behind it, so you can imagine when you've got that many products and many different listings, your head is spinning quite a lot. So you then get to a point when you're doing something else, you're not focusing as well as you should be. So I was one product I didn't do my due diligence on, so I saw the picture of it and said, oh yeah, great, just send it over.
So you ignored the fundamentals.
Yeah, I just thought, oh,
Right.
yeah. It turned up and it was like, yeah, these are seconds. The photo of what was there and what was here wasn't the same. I could go through Alibaba and just try and claim it all off and just go through that headache of that. And I decided not to. I just made it lesson learned, just chucked it on eBay and got half my money back. It wasn't a large amount, so that was one thing. More recent one is what Ollie was talking about earlier. You can get arrogant or you think, I know better. So I launched a product this year based on what I thought would work rather than doing the research. I thought, well, it's a product that no one else is selling, and then you straight away on is going, well, why are you doing that? It's just because you get to the point, well, I've sold these things. I know I can do it. I'm sure this one will work. And it hasn't worked. So, you could be doing this a number of years, and if you don't stick to the fundamentals, it can trip you up.
Yeah.
So there's two examples.
Speak to just constantly remind yourself of the basics again and again and again. Like, if you think of like driving, for example, fundamental of driving is steering. Right? It's quite an easy, obvious thing that you learn pretty soon. Imagine if like an F1 driver stopped steering. Like, what's going to happen? It's going to crash and die, right? I mean, it's the same thing. Product research, sourcing, marketing. Yeah. Right, let me look at my list of questions. Does anybody else have a question for Mike in the meantime? Let me see what else I have. So what skills would you say you're working on now at the moment?
Oh, that's going to sound really sad. It's standard operating procedures.
As you have a bigger business, that's...
Yeah.
So what is a standard operating procedure?
A standard operating procedure is a repeatable task that you document. So let's take an example. So it's a task. So I might, and then you may have a frequency for this task. So one of those would be once a week, I look at a particular product. I want to see the profitability and make sure it's the same as the week before. So I would write a task, weekly task. I've got an app. I run this app. I'm going to do this. I'm going to sort this. And then I'm going to look at the results. And based on the results, I'm going to do something. And I've got that written down because I say I'm going to do something, but this week I might go, I'm going to do something, but I'm going to do it slightly different. And the next week I'm going to do it. And how did I do it slightly different last week? I can't remember. So I'm now kind of getting to that document bit. And I do it really simple. I have postcards, blank postcards. I go task, and then I write it down, and I go, and this is what I'm like. I've got an intro. It says weekly tasks. I just have postcards. I've got about 3 at the moment, and I know that'll grow. And that's how I do my standard operating procedures.
And as a side note, if you're planning to hire people to work for you, having this stuff mapped out really helps. Because then when they start their job, you can just be like, here's the SOPs, standard operating procedures. This is how we do this. This is how we do this. And they can just start on their first day. And you don't have to train them like so granularly. It's all written down. This is probably only relevant once you're up to like 6 figures in sales and things are going forward. But you could, the way I research products that we did today is a standard operating procedure. Look for high demand products, make sure they're low competition, and then look at the rest of the details. That's a standard operating procedure.
Yep.
Right, it's a very simple one. And then you just don't, like, the phrase I really like is systems are reliable as people aren't. Right? So developing good systems is really, really key. All right, so one last question, Mike. How did it feel when you quit your job?
Well, I didn't quit as in 5 days to 0 days. I went from 5 days to 3 days. So I already had that opening. So I knew where I was going.
You ramped down a little bit.
I ramped down a little bit. How did it feel? Well, I feel great. I do what I want to do. Paddy, my horse, is not so keen because he knows if I feel like riding my horse, I go and ride my horse. So for me, because if we come back right to why do I do an Amazon business? I do an Amazon business because I want to be proud of something I do. I want it to be tangible. So there's a bit about me and doing something, not working for a big organisation. And the second goal for me is I decide when I work. I still work because I want to keep this going, but I decide when I do other activities. And for me, my passion is horses. So what I can do, because of this, so on Tuesday I ride in the afternoon. I don't have that 9 to 5 and go, oh, I've got to go there at 7 o'clock in the dark with everyone else. I'll go, no, I'll go at 3 o'clock. It's still sunny and I can ride for a couple of hours. Chill out, come back in the evening, go, right, okay, got a couple of tasks I need to do today, and I'll do those. So yeah, it's about managing your time how you want to manage it, being your own boss. And for me, if someone's like here, standing here, I can quite happily say I have a business that runs, over 500,000, and I'm very proud of that. And yeah, it's all part of it.
Round of applause for Mike. That's amazing. So Mike, thanks so much for your insights, man.
Now, if you enjoyed this video and you want to get some help launching your Amazon business, click the link below and you can book in your Amazon Accelerator call. What we'll do on this call is we'll talk about your goals first and get really clear on where you want to go, what kind of business you want to build, and where you want to live, how much you want to earn, all that kind of stuff. When we're clear on your goals, then we'll talk about where you're starting from right now. So how's your life at the moment? What's good about it? What's bad about it? What budget are you starting with? How much stuff have you done with Amazon so far? If it's nothing, that's fine. As long as we know where you're starting from, that's good. Then we can map out the steps it will take for you to get from where you're starting from now all the way to hitting the goal, right? And once we've done that, we'll get really clear on the plan for you to build it. And we can talk about how I can actually help you with that. I can actually help you research a product that will be way better than this product, right? I can help you get the products shipped from China using my product concierge service and into the Amazon warehouse. I can help you get a listing created to give your product the best chance and get it loads of sales as soon as it gets live on Amazon. And we can help you with the whole process. We can even give you one-to-one coaching. So if you want, click the link in the description, book in a call, we can have a chat. Can't wait to help you build your business. And I'll catch up very, very soon.